We're already recording. Hello, and welcome to Khyber Shards, a 5th edition actual play show set in the Eberron campaign world. It's Friday, and that means we're doing another KSA, Khyber Shards Answers, where we take questions from our audience and put them to me and to one of the players. And I just realized that I didn't change headwear, and so any illusion that this is not the same night that we recorded the batch of episodes that we just recorded is broken. But that's okay. The batch of episodes hasn't come out yet, so everyone will have forgotten by that point, except that I just pointed it out, and so now they won't.
Don't expect to see this in future KSAs, is what he's saying. He will not be in full DM regalia going forward.
That's right. Only wear the goggles for NPC Q&As.
I don't know when the last time is I got to use the word regalia, so I'm pretty happy with that.
That's solid, yeah, right? I appreciate you calling it regalia. It's nice. It's just, Yeah, this is good content. All right, so Colin, welcome.
Hey,
it's
man.
been a hot minute since we got to have you on a KSA.
It has.
It's been quite
Pog hasn't done a whole lot, you know?
Right, yeah. Yeah, Pog has been just real chill.
Real mellow. Yeah, real settled.
Yeah. I mean, Pog's drama is very under the surface. Like, Pog does appear, I think, to be really mellow compared to most of the player characters. But it's there. But so I guess we could say Pog has been more mellow than everyone else.
Yeah, well,
it takes a lot to get Pog to get big.
Yeah, I think it's also due to the fact that a lot of Pog's drama is persistent and never so much overwhelming yet. You know, Ari's been dealing with some things that have really changed who he is, and Shade is also on a big journey of self-discovery, and Pog is kind of just in a state of always learning how to deal now, you know? So there is a lot going on there, but it's not always something that makes big drastic changes. So
yeah, well, that makes sense. Speaking of Pog's drama, Laura asks, Pog doesn't seem to be bothered much by Esri's description of invisible people helping him out. But as we've seen, Pog often thinks deeper than he shows. Does he want to find out more about them? Is he thinking of ways to do that?
There's several questions in there at once. Doesn't seem to be bothered. I may be playing that incorrectly then. I think the thing is that it never happens during a chill time. It's only ever happened when Esri goes, oh, there they are again. And it's like we're kind of in the middle of something here.
I'm going through the window.
Can you remind me of this? And then it always, anytime it's happened, it has always been followed up with a gratitude for survival. There's never been a time where those apparitions appeared and we had everything handled. It was super cool, like just a mellow day. And so there's always been some kind of furthering event. I don't know which episode has most recently come out, but
you guys have just gone into the building. we were about to roll initiative in the warehouse. So
everything goes
gone into the building
according to plan.
Right.
So wonderfully good. There's always consequences immediately after whatever event has transpired that led the apparitions to appear. When Esri and Pog get some time, and he maybe reminds me that it's happened. It's something that he knows has happened, but it's always happened and worked. So, why tinker with what's not broken? Does he want to find out more about him? I'm going to be completely honest. Pog Pog does if he can know for sure that they're happening, because Esri is the only one that's seen them. And so maybe it's just, and not as player Colin knowing it's part of my mark. Maybe it's just something he sees when my mark is active. Maybe it's just how my mark looks to him. It's not been confirmed that I have apparitions aiding me, so that's a factor to consider as well. Is he thinking of ways to do that? No. Don't fix what ain't broke. And I'm very interested as a player in the next evolution of that mechanically, to see what we're able to mess up with that. It's going to be very fun.
Is that level 7? Do you get the next thing at level 7?
I just got the next thing. You and I are talking as soon as this call is over, because as much as we've talked about that, Philip has a lot of control. He has all the control over how this thing works right now. I know what's going to happen to announce this next thing, and I'm very excited about it.
I'm super excited about that too.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love it. Excellent. Poor listeners are, let's see, at least 5 episodes behind, because we just finished recording another batch to get us through the end of the year.
So while I do feel bad about that, I will also say we deserve a slight amount of pity, because when you guys see the last episode that we recorded tonight, in which Philip and I are dressed the same, imagine that we have to wait a month to play this again. This is against the Geneva Convention, Philip. You should not be leaving us on this cliffhanger, dude.
It's a real bummer. To be
I'm
honest,
not okay with this.
I'm really bummed out about it too. I'm going to have to rewatch and make sure that I pick up exactly in the right spot. Like it's not an ideal thing, but holidays being what they are, we'll deal. But
Boy,
I also am bummed. I've gotten used to playing on a pretty regular schedule with this. So
yeah, this is a tough one.
We've consistently played every 2 weeks. Yeah.
Got spoiled. Didn't know what we had until it was gone.
Don't it always seem to go? Thank you.
Love it. We just yellow taxied all over this KSA.
So I had a question from Mia. How does Pog feel about his place within the group? Does he feel like he fills a specific role?
That is a very good question. And it's one that I have put a lot of thought into. Again, I feel like this is two different things here. Does he fill a specific role? Yeah, I think being the muscle is something that he's coming to terms with, and has started acting a little bit more forward in times of danger. First one in, and it wasn't just being able to go invisible. It was we're going in. We've been the forward thinker, even in taking over the mansion. I'll lead room to room. Place within the group has actually been a pretty interesting evolution to get to feel. There was the longest time at the start, and it's so crazy to think about this because we've now been playing for more than a year, so there really have been so many enjoyable dynamic shifts. At the start of it, it was obviously Ari and Pog versus the world. And not to say that he's not ride or die for any of this group, but that was where he went to. That's the only one. And then in the discovery of where you fit in the civilized world, we saw Pog and Shade become very naturally, close to each other and really help each other process a lot of things. And now And Ari and Pog had some distance put between them through some decisions, some personality traits. And now we see that Shade and Ari are growing to be very close. And no spoilers, but Pog has now found himself in a place where he desperately needs Ezri for the first time. It's interesting because I feel like there has become more of a sense of not knowing his place within the group. There's a much smaller feeling of importance for Pog right now. Very much feeling like he's filling in for the others, which I'm excited to see kind of play itself out, find where the rise happens. Where we are now is quite a place for a Pog to find themselves. Boy, when you guys see this, when they see this, oh man, I don't think he's happy with his place within the group right now. The school is something that has shifted the focus of the group, and that's requiring some work. Pog went to see Carl in his downtime because the way things were was actually pretty great. They were very routine. They were very safe. And Ari is very passionately committed to the idea of the school. And Shade is down to evolve her own strength and has this pretty scary fascination with the idea of power, which is not something that's ever even been of passing interest to Pog. And Ezri's doing some gross and strong stuff right now. So yeah, it's feeling kind of weird. I'm interested to see how that changes, but also Pog being Pog, these are his people. You know, this is his tribe, and there is no question of that fact.
Cool. Yeah, it is really weird to think how much the group dynamic has evolved.
Yeah.
Compared to a year ago when we started playing. Yeah. Sorry.
Why? I had a blast. Pog may want an apology, but Colin had a great time.
Mia also asks, she says at the very start of the campaign, Pog was itching to get into real battle. How does it feel now, having gotten into a few life or death encounters?
Now that he's experienced, I would say that Pog is ready to get into battle. He's no longer looking for it. But, you know, I guess stage jitters, that pre-show jitter that you get at the thought of doing a thing that you think you should want to do, would be great at doing. You know, Pog's got some kills under his belt. He's got some pretty challenging combat that he has thrived in. And, you know, with that forward action focused personality and confidence that he's gained, not battle hardened by any means. He's still a young, energetic guy, but he's ready. It's, there's also a resignation to the fact that he's gotten exactly what he wanted, in a way, which means he's going to get more of it. There's no confusion that the last battle he had might be the last battle. There will be another. There will be, and we've had conversations even in tonight's session. We know that there's an inevitability to some of the things that lay ahead of us because of what lays behind us. And so, you know, he was ready to get into battle, and now he just knows that more battle lies ahead, and he's ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
I think is the
Cool.
best way to surmise the overall feeling there.
Yeah. So I'm curious, a year on, you've been playing D&D for a year now. You can no longer really, I think, call yourself a novice D&D player. What do you think is different about you as a player a year in? What do you find? In what ways do you find it easier? In what ways is it still difficult or nerve-wracking or anything like that? What's changed about the experience in a year?
That's a good question. I think what's gotten easier is actually what's gotten harder because it's gotten easier. The more I know Pog, the more surprising some of the situations are that he has to encounter. And the more I know his abilities, say in combat, the more I find myself almost chess-like. We've got a combat where I roll first initiative. I make my action, and then this person goes, and I decide, okay, well, I'll do this and then that, and I'll go this way. But then this person decides they're going to jump in that direction, and so I can't do that over there. I have to shift. So as I have more, I'm thinking so much more now, and it's a challenge because I have a character who, in combat scenarios especially, is super capable, and so I feel an obligation to make sure that when it comes back around to my turn in initiative, like, hey, you're the one that's got to do something. We need to make sure that something gets accomplished now. And that's not necessarily something of finality, but it's got to make an impact, which is a challenging responsibility that year ago, Colin, in the KSA of like, I just want to get into the action. I just want to play, man. I just want to, hit things with axes. And now I'm like, I got to hit things hard with axes. And my second attack has to make sure that I clear this direction. It's fun. There's a lot more of it, but it's good. I think that what I've been focusing very hard on is trying to be a quiet player and really focus in on my active listening, and making sure that my character's investment in the other characters is substantial. Tonight I had a great opportunity to show that. I think of something needs done, because they said so. And that, for me as a human, is a challenge to find my place in the quiet, because I've lived a life that fills the silence. I choose a hobby like streaming, where I'm deciding I'm going to talk for 3 hours at a time. And that's the challenge I've put forth to myself, is to make sure that my investment in the world that you're presenting and the story that you're offering to us, as well as the investment of the other players, is something that I'm committing myself to fully. So yeah, that's gotten harder. What's gotten easier is I'm not nervous at all about sitting down to play with you guys. That first 3, maybe 4 sessions, man, like full-blown stage fright. There was you and Eric have been doing this in front of people on the podcast, and then live streaming the finale. And Eric, while the YouTube channel was going, like, I got to play with these guys, and then we've got RA and Casey, who Philip has known for years. Like, there's a lot. And then you hit a certain point where I was just like, yeah, okay, I'm in this. I got this. I can roll with it. And now, aside from the cliffhanger we left on, I'm just bummed I don't get to chill and play D&D with my friends for a month. Like, that kind of sucks, So the simple act of playing has gotten a lot easier.
Good. I'm glad it has. It has been a delight.
How has it changed having a rookie at the table? Has my play style changed for you objectively?
you don't play like a rookie. You don't. I very rarely have. You know, you're not generally at this point having to ask rules questions. You know what your character can do. You understand the basics of how it goes. I mean, yeah, if you switched over and played like a spellcaster for a while, you'd probably be at sea again and have to get a lot of things clarified once again because it's an entirely different animal. But yeah, it's not. You do not come across as someone that I'm having to teach D&D to at this point, and haven't for quite a while. Like, really, you really did hit your stride playing a long time ago. So it's been awesome to have you aboard, not only because you're one of my best friends and it's delightful to share this thing that is just one of my favorite things to do with another person that is one of my favorite people to do things with. But also just because you are, I think one of the things that is hard for most people getting into D&D that I think was not hard for you, probably because this is part of your personality and also you've got a bit of a theater background and that makes a difference, but is the willingness to just jump in. A lot of times new players will feel, understandably, especially when they sit down with a group of experienced players, will feel very, very nervous about speaking up. Like I'm going to break the rhythm of the game and I don't know how the dynamic of these people is. And I'm going to step in and I'm going to role play wrong or something like that. And that was not a hesitancy that I saw in you. Is you were not so afraid of doing it wrong that it kept you from doing something.
I remember
immediately up for role playing.
I remember a moment in the very first session that we had as we were escaping from Black Wheel, when my thought was, I wonder if Philip will let me do this. And I was like, I'm just going to see if this is how he lets the game happen. And it's when I reached out to grab from the airship to try to pull old boy up. And your response of, awesome, I love it. I was like, okay, cool. Like, we're just going to go for crazy stuff then. Like, rad.
Yeah.
Like that's very nurturing to a young player to get rid of those hesitancies, because Lord knows I've seen enough action movies to know what I want to do.
Right. And I love it when players, and I try to foster this at my table, and I love it when players don't look at the rules as a set of boundaries that limit our options, which in fairness is most of the time what rules are there for, but rather as a starting point with which to adjudicate whatever insane thing you want to try to do. And it's really cool to see that with you, right off the bat. And also, like, Pog has frequently gone for the big and the crazy over whatever else.
I gotta talk to him about that.
Yeah, well, or when when Mia guested and decided she wanted to tear the head off of the wyvern, like that was her thing. Dude. Like, I want to mount the wyvern. Can I mount the wyvern? Absolutely, you can. Why wouldn't? Yeah,
shouldn't,
like that was.
But yes, you can.
I love when players give into that impulse of, I want this insane thing to happen. Please let me know how I can make it happen.
Right.
So that is honestly something I expected from you as a player, and that I was excited about in getting you into D&D, was to see that just go for it mentality come out in a situation where all the consequences are imaginary.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I'll have to write up a new character sheet one of these days after one of these decisions, but yeah, that'll be fun too.
Right. Yeah. That's the worst that can happen.
Yep. Paul will pay the price, not me. So
right.
We're okay.
Oh, anyway. So yes, that's my view on you, a year in as a player.
Ready to play some more. We can go now if you want. Just roll a one shot. You and me. Let's go.
Little solo one shot. I have some rules for that. I have a Beowulf setting that's designed for one player and one GM, where you play like play a Beowulf at level hero going out monster hunting.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's killer. It's fun. Anyway.
I have one question for you before we wrap this up. Do we have school colors for the Grey Malkin Academy?
Yes. The logo for the Grey Malkin Academy is red. It's the sleeping dragon. And the sign, the background is black. And so it would be red on black or gray or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. The real
Just
question
trying to figure out
what color are the superhero costumes?
Well, I'm trying to figure out what color the next batch of Kolos Crusher shirts need to not be. I don't want to infringe on any IPs you've got here.
Right. Of course not. Oh man, awesome.
That's hilarious.
Cool. Well, those are our questions for this week. If you'd like to submit questions, you can do so over on our Discord or down in the comments on this video or any of our recent videos. I go back and I check those before we do a KSA. Link to our Discord, along with all of our other social medias down there in the description below, along with a link to Colin's Twitch, where he is Sorry BTR, the O is 0, and streams most Tuesdays, as well as whenever restauranting allows, and he, wants to. You can also see Colin now several videos on Colin's own YouTube channel. I don't think we've had a moment to pitch the new YouTube channel since it launched. Actually, I don't think you've been on a KSA since the new YouTube launch. Is it really? Good night.
I haven't been on a KSA, I don't believe, since either new content launches. The one that Philip is talking about is you can find me here on the YouTubes at the Game Pass Guru. I am now in the world of PC and Xbox gaming, and so I'm doing quick little overviews of games that are available on the Game Pass. Also, you can find me wherever you are listening to podcasts with this guy on our new show, the I Never Got Into That podcast, where every episode we explore a different type of pop culture or fandom that one or both of us never got into, and we find out what it is that makes them so beloved.
Yeah. So if you enjoy listening to me and Colin talk and would like to hear us talk about other nerdy things, including D&D, we did an episode on Critical Role, you can find us over there on I Never Got Into That. In the meantime, I think that's everything. New episodes of Khyber Shards drop on Monday. New KSAs every Friday. Probably every Friday this month. Maybe not like the one right around Christmas. Just depending on when I get things recorded. Until next time, though, thanks for rolling with us.